Hey, good to have you back. So, what I'm taking a look at today, what I'm focusing on, sort of generally, is right now for a few days of shooting, is trying to build some foundational stuff that so that we're all speaking the same language. And what I'm looking at today is under the heading of functional harmony, I would say is relative substitutions or like substitutions or simple substitutions. And the most common one is the relative minor. We've all heard this before, haven't we? Relative minor, in the key of C. The relative minor is A minor. Then that means the chord that's closely related to the C chord. All right. And in the little written blurb that I did here at the top, the tonic chord of C has a very closely related sound, so closely related that we call them relative. The chord of C major is made up of the notes C, E, and G, and the chord of A minor is made up of the notes A, C, and E. So they both share the same harmonic DNA, if you will. They have two notes in common and both share the tonic of the key, which in this case is C, right? So the A minor chord has a C in it, tonic of the key, and an E in it. The two most important notes in the C chord, right? So they're very, very closely related. All right. Uh, so I'm really not into theory, believe it or not. I'm actually into understanding how I can develop new ideas and with simple concepts. A sophisticated use of the simple concepts of harmony and so on is I think what we can call this. Okay, so if we have a chord progression that goes that's written here, for instance, C goes down to that relative minor. Okay, so you can see that you've got a nice movement going to that A minor, and those two chords are very, very closely related. And I just want to show you how closely related they are by sort of switching up this exact same progression. And rather than going from C to A minor, I'm going to go from A minor to C, right? And so we're going to sort of switch out the C chord and the A minor chord because they're relative, right? So now instead of a movement that's going like this, I've got a movement that's going to go like this. So so the question now is, are we still in the key of C? If I ask you that question, like from what is your ear telling you? Is your ear saying, yeah, oh yeah, we're in the key of C because we're using all the same notes, right? We're only using the scale of the notes in the scale of C. Right? Right. But we're starting on A though. Are we still in the key of C? No, we're not. Because it doesn't sound like we're in the key of C, even though these chords are very closely related. When we start to imply the A minor as being the new one chord, in fact, we're in the key of A minor, which uses all the same notes. right, so now I'm in the key of A minor. Okay, so the relative minor relationship expanded. Ooh. The subdominant chord of F also has its own relative minor chord with the same relationship as the relationship between C major and A minor. So in other words, F major has, if we go back from F major down to F, E minor, D minor, right? That we have this relationship of a relative minor. We just does a minor third below, and same relationship as we have with C major and A minor. We have with F major and D minor. So if we take, oh yeah, here I've written it written out here. So C going down to A, where the relative minor, and F going down to D, which is the relative minor. So as you can see, both of these chords share similar harmonic DNA. The C and the A minor are relative and function as tonic chords, and the F major and D minor are also relative and function as subdominant chords, right? So the C and the A function as tonic sounds, and the F major functions as a subdominant sound. Let's listen to another chord progression with this in mind. So now, rather than we're using basically the same template of chord progression, but rather than go to the F, I'm going to go to the D minor now, right? Go to F. Right? So yeah. So that in other words, we have two tonic sounds in the key, which are C major and A minor. And then we have two subdominant sounds, which are F major and D minor, and they are interchangeable. It depends on how you want the bass line to move, and it depends on the color that you're looking for what you're doing. All right, so let's just move beyond that. Remember that when you make simple substitutions such as this, you create new directions for the bass lines. In other words, it's not just a matter of color or texture, it's also a matter of creating direction and alternatives. Try listening to each of the notes or voices separately and begin to hear their direction. How about a variation on the same progression that we just played? The idea, right? These are all the same progression is the point that I'm trying to make here. So simple or like substitution, we can call this technique of substituting relative minors majors as simple or like substitution, taking a closely related chord that sounds like the chord being substituted and placing it in the same position as its relative. The chord function remains the same. Chord function, right, is what I'm talking about here, right? Function. So we've only got three functions that we're going to look at, and those are tonic, subdominant, and dominant. And those functions have varying degrees of tension away from the tonic. Obviously, the tonic is no tension, right? It's a state of resolution. The subdominant is a nice, happy kind of passive resolution. Whereas the dominant says, I want to go back home and I want to go there pretty soon. Right? So they're varying degrees of tension. Tonic to subdominant to tonic is what you just heard. Tonic to dominant, we could go tonic to dominant. tonic. Clearly, the 5 chord wants to go back to the 1. It's got all sorts of tension built up in that chord that wants to return home. And of course, tonic to subdominant to dominant to tonic works as well. What doesn't really work very well in this type of harmony is when I say this type of harmony, if you go back from the dominant to the subdominant, it no longer falls into the category of dominant harmony. And let's just stick with this for now. I don't want to dig too deep. It's a YouTube video and not a book. Here are some examples using like substitutions as well as 1, 4, and 5. Keep in mind that the like substitutions will be minor. So these are just like a tonic, sub, dominant, and that's a really nice one. Man, I like that. So this is tonic, sub, dominant, and tonic. You'd have to call that a deceptive resolution, right? You're not expecting it to go there, but it still functions as a tonic because you got the root and the third of the key in that chord, right? Here's another one. Tonic, sub, dominant. You can hear the similarities between these two progressions, but the movement is so much different. Okay, and then number 3, we have subdominant, dominant, tonic. Okay, so yeah. So that's about it. There's a fair bit there that you can probably grab onto. And so what we're dealing with here are super simple concepts. Like they're simple concepts, but if you really understand them, they can completely revolutionize the way you write, the way you think, and the way you hear. You should be able to hear these chord progressions when you're listening to recordings, and you should be able to use them in your own work, whatever that is. It doesn't matter if it's a simple 3-chord song. You can take a simple 3-chord song and make it sound super interesting by the use of simple substitutions, like I've showed you here today. So extrapolate this, take it to other keys, try out some new ideas. And listen to this video a few times if you really want to get a grip on this. In my own teaching experience, I'll tell you what I've learned. Well, one of the things that I've learned is that people don't listen most of the time. And yeah, and so I'm really used to repeating things a lot, right? And so when I say listen to this video a few times, you know that it's true. Listen to it a few times. If you don't understand this stuff and you just don't know it completely, like your name, you'll have to. Music is requires you to adopt it. You can't just have a fleeting theoretical understanding. You have to understand it intrinsically. It has to be a part of your inner vocabulary, your consciousness. Let's put it that way. Okay, cool. That's all good. I hope you got something out of it, out of this. And just remember that chord function is something that you should be looking for all the time. How is this chord functioning? Is it functioning as a subdominant, or is it functioning as a dominant, or is it functioning as a tonic? Am I in the key of C major, or am I in the key of A minor? What does it sound like to me? Okay, that's about it for today. Like, subscribe if you do. Please subscribe, and And leave a comment as well. Comments are really, really helpful because it gives me an idea of, whether I'm completely wasting my time or not. Okay, that's it. And thanks for dropping by. Really appreciate it. This is our first day shooting in our new home, 4,500 kilometers away from where we were at the last sessions of videos. So, yeah, hope this works out. Good. So great to have you here. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you real soon.